Hey everyone, I'm Carolyn. Welcome back to another episode of As I See It. I want to talk about a trend I have been seeing that's not new, but it's just really been forefront in my social media feed lately. And that is this argument that what happened at Sandy Hook, what happened in Texas, what happened in Buffalo, what happened in all of these places where lots of people are getting gunned down is not an issue of gun control. It's not even an issue of mental health. What it's really about is a sinful people, a sinful America. Satan has gotten in, there's too much sin, there's not enough religion. That's the argument. I first saw it last night when, I don't even know how it came across my feed, a video for some guy, some self-professed religious expert in a red hat, talked about this. Oh, it was in a social media feed. He posted his own video. You have to watch this. This is what it's really about. And then a friend sent me a tweet and she said, yeah, someone we both know posted something very disturbing and I just can't believe it. And I read that post this morning and it was also saying that the problem with all of these murders in our country is not gun control and it's not even mental health. It's the fact that we don't have enough religion, that we're losing faith, that we have gone too far down these socialist, atheist, liberals are ruining our country. That's the subtext. I don't know that any actually came out and said that. But everyone, politicians are saying this. Ted Cruz said the problem with America isn't the fact that we've got too many guns on the streets or even mental illness. It's that we've taken prayer out of school. And that's the reason schools are being targeted, because there's no more God in school. I find this idea preposterous, ridiculous, and I'm going to give you some reasons why I think this is a ridiculous argument. Number one, we have 240 million Christians in the United States. They say that that's an estimate, that's an average. 240 million, or 70% of our society are Christians. That's not enough? That the prayers of 70% of society aren't enough to keep us safe? I mean, I can kind of understand if it was switched that, 30% of Americans are Christians, and what we need is more prayer. I mean, I can almost, of course, I don't agree with this at all, but the logic of that almost makes more sense, right? We only have 30% of Americans praying. That's not enough. We need to get more praying. But 70% of Americans are Christians? Thoughts and prayers. But their thoughts and prayers aren't, I guess, strong enough to outmaneuver, outdo, or whatever Satan. 70% of Americans? No, because what they want is 100%. Because if they had their way, we would be a religious nation under religious laws, under their interpretation of the Bible. But still, that claim that the real problem in America is religion, or lack thereof, is so far out of the realm of reality that it's almost mind-boggling. Have they forgotten our history? Let's talk about Native Americans. The Christians in our nation, the early Protestants in our nation, justified torturing and murdering Native Americans because they were mere natives, barbaric. We're better than them. That's the problem with religion. We're better than them. God tells us we're better than them. That's the problem I have with religion. God, you believe that God has ordained you to be better than, and therefore you can justify murder, torture. Let's talk about the boarding schools. The boarding schools that were set up by reformers to use education as a tool to assimilate Indian tribes into the mainstream of American way of life. This is very much a Protestant ideology of the mid-19th century. So these boarding schools, if you don't know, I highly recommend looking it up and reading about it, were used to torture, abuse, and even murder Native American children, all under the name of this Protestant ideology of assimilating Indians into the American mainstream. This is a religion. This is a society. In the mid-19th century, for those people who think that we've gone down the slippery slope of secularism and we need more religion in our society, this is what more religion in our society looks like. Justifying, annihilating, mass genocide of an entire people, all in the name of religion. I've got another example for you. Slavery. Theological justification from the ministers of these religions, of Christians and Protestants, allowed them to believe that not only did God sanction slavery, but slavery supporters were better Christians and more faithful interpreters of biblical text than their opponents. Yeah. All my sources for my research are in the video description if you want to read more. Yes, slavery was justified through religion. God ordained us. We're better. They're mere barbarians. We're superior. They're not even human. So we have a right to own them and treat them as we see fit. God has ordained us. That's religion. That's religion in the 17th, 18th, 19th century America. That's what a religious majority, that's what a 90% population of Christians looks like, with everybody praying. That's what you want? That's what you think religion benefits, how you think religion benefits society? Or what are you really saying? Who does religion really benefit? And I'm going to get to that in a minute. Let's talk about American imperialism, and this kind of goes back to Native Americans. Manifest Destiny became first and foremost a call and a justification for an American form of imperialism. It neatly summarized the goals of the Mexican War. It claimed that America had a destiny, manifest, i.e. self-evident from God, to occupy North America south of Canada. Manifest Destiny was also clearly a racial doctrine of white supremacy that granted no Native American or non-white claims to any permanent possession of lands on the North American continent and justified white American expropriation of Indian lands. Manifest Destiny was a manifest from God Himself. Religion said it's okay for America to steal land from others because they're less than. God didn't grant them this supreme justification. God didn't ordain them with this manifest. No, He ordained us. This is what religion does. Religion tells the faithful that they're better than everybody else and they have a right to do anything they want. This is the world you want? This is the world that you think is better than the alternative? This is what you want to go back to? You're worried that people are leaving the church. Maybe you ought to ask why they're leaving the church instead of trying to force your beliefs down everybody else's throat. Why are people leaving the church? Maybe because the church isn't really making sense. Maybe because people are seeing through the lies taught and preached in many of the churches. Maybe more people are learning the history of the church and its tainted, ugly, dark history of criminalizing and killing and abusing people, all in the name of God. I've got one more example for you. Let's talk about religion and the oppression and subjugation of women. Christianity is a patriarchal religion. It does violence to women through its preponderant use of male language for God. Its traditional teaching on women's inferiority, the household codes in the New Testament, which mandate the subordination of women and its hierarchical structure. So all of these things that I'm reading are actual quotes, and the sources are in the video description. So Christianity also oppresses women. Christianity, so I am giving you just 4 examples here of how a highly majority Christian society has oppressed, abused, murdered anybody who is non-white male, basically, right? Subjugates and oppresses women, Native Americans, African Americans, to the point that they're not even people and we can own them. This is what religion has done. This is the history of religion in our country, and this is what people want to bring back. This is the life, this is the structure that we want in our society in order to prevent school shootings. Sure, it's okay. We'll sacrifice a few Native Americans and African Americans and, we'll own them. We'll subjugate women and make it okay to beat them and rape them because you can't rape your wife. We'll make that okay to save children. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. Here's a couple facts for you. There is this common misbelief that people who are religious are more moral, are more ethical, are less violent, are less likely to murder. Studies show that even atheists believe this, that even atheists and agnostics have been brainwashed into believing that people who are religious are more moral, are less likely to murder and commit crimes. Guess what? That's not true. Study after study after study has shown. According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, atheists are far less likely to commit crimes than religious people. And globally, the less religious a country, the less crime there is. So this idea that the reason we have this evil in our society is lack of religion is preposterous. Religion has been the very cause of evil in our society. So I shake my head when I hear that all we need is more prayer. 70% of our population is praying. It's not helping. And history shows us that the more people who pray, the less oppressive our society is. The more oppressive our society is. The less free it is. The less egalitarian our society is. The more likely it is to commit mass genocide and murder and atrocities against human rights. That's the fact. That's the truth. Murder rates, again, are lower in more secular countries. And in the United States, the states with the highest murder rates are also the most religious. If you're going to make the argument that in order to stop school shootings, we need more religion, these facts, this data tells me it's actually the opposite. That if we want less violence, if we want less crime, if we want less oppression, if we want less subjugation of women and people of color, that we actually need less religion. That's how I see it. What do you think? Leave your thoughts below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. See you soon.